Battle through the firmament. Grand World. Chapter 341 Grandma White. Elder Shao, why are you here? Su Jiang frowned when he saw Elder Shao suddenly barge in. He had no choice but to put down his raised arm, and the origin monic key in his palm quietly dissipated. Shaoyan, stop for now. Wu Shaoqi has already told me that I will bring you to meet the Qi and Bai elders later. Elder Shao stopped Shaoyan, who was about to walk out. He glared at Su Jiang and said, Elder Su, what are you doing? In the distance, he had sensed the surging origin monic kiss in the technique hall. He did not expect that Su Jiang would really attack Shaoyan. Su Jiang merely laughed coldly when he heard this. He looked at the silent Shaoyan beside him and said, Elder Shao, you know better than me what the Yunlo is facing right now. If the 4 academies competition were to attack again, if we can't get a good result, then the illusory spirit space will have 15 days worth of resources. There is a high chance that it will be taken away by the other 3 academies. As elders, they had to protect the interests of the academy. This was personally taught to me by the headmaster back then, forcibly speaking irrationally. Elder Shao frowned and was about to speak. Shaoyan, who was standing beside him, gritted his teeth and said, Su Jiang, I'll say the same thing again. Whoever wants my monic flame, ask him to come and find me. I am willing to accompany you. You don't have the right to tell me what to do here. As he spoke, Shaoyan ignored Wu Shaoqi's shocked gaze and looked at Elder Shao. He said earnestly, Elder, I'll have to trouble you to bring me to see the Qi and Bai elders. Shaoyan is very grateful. His voice was filled with obvious anxiety. All right. Elder Shao nodded his head. He knew how anxious Shaoyan was at that moment, so he did not say anything else. He gave Su Jiang a cold glance and said, Elder Su, the biggest taboo in the academy is to favor one side over the other. Furthermore, Shaoyan is under the care of the Qi and Bai elders. Don't anger the 2 elders. After saying that, he turned around and walked out. Shaoyan immediately followed closely behind. When he reached the door, Shaoyan paused for a moment, then turned around and said in a cold voice, Elder Su, if you also wish to obtain my monic flame, you can naturally come and find me. I will accompany you at any time. As he spoke, he followed Elder Shao out of the technique hall without looking back. Elder Su, what did you say to Shaoyan? Wu Shaoqi frowned slightly and looked at Su Jiang curiously. Nothing. Su Jiang smiled lightly and watched Elder Shao and Shaoyan leave. The corner of his mouth revealed a trace of a cold smile as he mumbled to himself, stubborn and stubborn. This time, the Yunlo Academy would not allow any mistakes. Even if you are recognized by the Qi and Bai elders, that will only be your future achievements. For the Yunlo, these insignificant sacrifices. I believe that the Dean won't say anything even if he's here. Right, you have already advanced to the Monic Emperor. When do you plan to enter the realm in Valley? Elder Su suddenly smiled and looked at Wu Shaoqi with a friendly gaze. Realm in Valley. Wu Shaoqi pondered for a moment and said, now that there are 10 students in Realm in Valley, we should have a competition to decide who will go and who will stay. No need to be so troublesome. Mu Yuyang will be going out to start the graduation exam in a few days. With his ability, he can easily complete the few conditions of the exam. At that time, you can come in directly. Smiling, Su Jiang waved his hand and gathered the fragments on the ground into a ball. With a light wave of his hand, all the fragments were turned into powder. It's the graduation exam. Wu Shaoqi nodded when she heard this. She was just about to speak when she suddenly thought of something. She said something to Su Jiang and left in a hurry. When she was in Heavenly Peak, she had promised Shaoyan that she would help him obtain the medicinal ingredients for the pill refinement. She had been out of illusory spirit space for almost half a day and had yet to return to tell her grandfather about this matter. Monic Emperor. I wonder what level he will reach in 2 years. She looked at Wu Shaoqi's back as she left. The smile on Su Jiang's face immediately disappeared, and he fell into deep thought. Heaven Pillar Peak. Under the lead of Elder Shao, Xiaoyan met the Qi and Bai elders once again in the space sealed by the Grand Formation. He explained Zunna's situation to the two elders in detail, and his tone was filled with incomparable anxiety. "It's those little bastards from the star sky again." Qi Yun sighed when he heard this. He turned his head to look at Grandma Bai and said, "Old woman, your wood attribute origin monic key has some effect on treatment. You can go with the little guy." Grandma Bai ignored Qi Yun. She opened her turbid eyes and looked at Xiaoyan. A smile appeared on her wrinkled face. "Not bad, not bad. You have already reached the second Dao Emperor realm. Sure enough, I didn't misjudge you, kid." After a pause, Grandma Bai stood up from the stone bench and said, "Let's go. Since you have completed the goal that the old man and I have set for you, move this old body and walk with you to see that little girl." "Thank you." Xiaoyan heard this and felt relieved. He sincerely thanked Grandma Bai. He was already a little anxious and rash. If the two elders did not agree, Xiaoyan really did not know what kind of crazy thing he would do. "Xiaoyan, don't hate Elder Su. He is also doing it for the academy. We cannot punish him. We must make him stop. There are still 2 years left. In these 2 years, if your strength is strong enough to move him, he will naturally not have any thoughts about you." Just as Xiaoyan was about to leave, Qi Yun suddenly let out a long sigh and spoke in a deep voice. There was a hint of helplessness and hope in his voice. Xiaoyan heard this and stopped in his tracks. He was silent for a moment and did not say anything. He followed Grandma Bai and left the spatial zone. "I can see that this kid values relationships and loyalty. He also has a character of revenge. It made him have resentment towards the academy. It will not be easy for him to calm down in the future." Qi Yun shook his head and said to Elder Shao beside him. Elder Shao nodded with a solemn expression. With his eyesight, he could naturally tell what was going on. Although Elder Su acted impulsively, it was also for the sake of the academy. If no one else in the academy had made any progress in the past 2 years, they might have really implemented Su Jiang's idea. "Oh right, Wu Changqing's granddaughter has also advanced to the Monic Emperor after entering the illusory spirit space." Qi Yun smiled when he saw Elder Shao nod his head in agreement. His eyes were filled with joy. "Great, the cultivation resources in the illusory spirit space are getting lesser and lesser, and most of the ancient expert remains have disappeared. It is the fortune of Yunlo that Wu Shaoqi was able to have such a fortuitous encounter." Elder Shao also had a happy smile on his face. This time, the Yunlo Academy's luck was really extraordinary. Even with 2 months of cultivation time, no one from the Star Sky Academy had gotten such a great opportunity. On the heavenly peak, while Kai Lin, Gu Yuan, and Zhu Kun were anxiously waiting, Xiaoyan's figure finally appeared in their field of vision. After a few leaps, he landed in front of Kai Lin and the other two. Behind him, an old woman with white hair, who was wearing a black robe, appeared beside Xiaoyan in a flash. "This is the elder who is guarding the academy, Grandma Bai. Invite her to temporarily suppress the poison in Zunna's body." After introducing Grandma Bai to the 3 of them, Kai Lin and the other 2 heard Xiaoyan's introduction and their eyes were filled with hope. The panic in their hearts also lessened a lot. After instructing the 3 of them a little, Xiaoyan hurriedly brought Grandma Bai into the room. He was currently very anxious and could not maintain a calm state of mind. Grandma Bai faintly looked at the flustered Xiaoyan and could not help but smile. She really couldn't imagine what would happen to that little girl called Xiaosuna. What would this guy do? Chapter End. Battle Through the Firmament. Grand World. Chapter 342. Pill Assembly. Inside the room, Zunna's pretty face was pale. She quietly lay on the bed. Although her breathing was steady, there were no signs of her waking up. She looked exceptionally pitiful. Grandma Bai went straight to Zunna's side, and the green origin monic key on her withered palm slowly flowed and placed on Zunna's forehead. The moment the green origin monic key appeared, Xiaoyan keenly felt a boundless life force flowing out. The trees outside the house seemed to be nourished, growing at a speed visible to the naked eye. The leaves rustled in the wind, appearing extremely cheerful. Grandma Bai's expression was solemn, and her eyes were closed. Her palm gently moved on Zana's forehead, and the green origin monic key slowly covered Zana's entire body like flowing water. It made her pale face turn slightly better. Xiaoyan anxiously waited by the side like an ant on a hot pan but did not dare to make a sound to disturb Grandma Bai. He could only endure the anxiety in his heart and wait quietly. Humph! In Xiaoyan's senses, it was as if half a day had passed when Grandma Bai finally opened her eyes. Her withered palm also removed from Zana's head. Grandma Bai, how is Zana? Xiaoyan swallowed a mouthful of saliva and hurriedly asked. However, his heart was extremely uneasy. He was afraid that he would hear bad news from the former's mouth. I have controlled the poison. Although the pill poison used by those little bastards from the star sky is weak, I don't know the composition of the pill poison. Also, this little girl's meridians are too weak. I don't dare to make a move rashly, afraid that it will cause harm to her. Grandma Bai lightly smiled and said, "Don't worry. I have sealed this poison with the origin monic key. It will not spread to the entire body. After that, it will attract all the poison together. When the time comes, you can give her the medicine pill, and she will be able to remove the poison from her body." Only after hearing this did Xiaoyan's tensed heart finally calm down. He spoke with a hopeful voice, "When can Zana wake up?" Grandma Bai shook her head and said, "The main point of this poison is that it causes one to be unconscious. Unless the poison is completely resolved, it is impossible for one to wake up. This little girl's body is too weak. Otherwise, Grandma can use the origin monic key to force the poison out." When he heard Grandma Bai's words, although Xiaoyan's expression was dim, the anxiety in his heart had already dissipated a lot. After respectfully thanking her, he hurriedly went out to inform Kalen and the others, who were also anxiously waiting. When the three of them heard that Zana was fine, they all let out a breath of relief. Only then did the nervous emotions ease up. After sending Grandma Bai away, Xiaoyan mused for a moment. He was just about to speak when Guyuan spoke in a deep voice. "That poison-dissolving pill is a 6th grade medicine pill. Elder Lu from the Pill Association is not around. What do you plan to do?" Although Grandma Bai said that Zana would be fine during this period of time, out of a kind of father's unique mentality, Guyuan was still somewhat frightened. Xiaoyan took a breath and said with a determined look, "Father, don't worry. I will refine this medicine pill. That's a 6th grade medicine pill. Are you confident that you can refine it?" Zhu Kun stepped forward and said in surprise. They had also heard Xiaoyan mention the complexity of refining a 6th grade medicine pill. Not only did it require a powerful soul force, but it also required a special kind of cauldron. "I can only try my best." Xiaoyan shook his head with a bitter smile. He held Kalen's hand. Her tender palm was slightly cold, causing Xiaoyan's heart to ache. "Don't worry. Zana will be fine." Xiaoyan held Kalen in his arms and smelled the fragrance of the former's hair as he softly said. Kalen silently nodded her head and whispered, "Thank you for your hard work. Just now when I went to pay a visit to Grandma Bai with Elder Xiao, I also asked. There is only one heaven cauldron in the Yunlo Academy, and it is stored in the pill gathering. It is not easy to borrow it." Xiaoyan shook his head. Then, he said to the three of them, "I will go to the Elixir Association now. No matter what, I have to borrow the heaven cauldron." As he spoke, flames curled up on his back. Then, he took out fire wings and condensed them. Xiaoyan had already rushed in the direction of the Pill Association. In order to rush for time, he no longer had the mood to worry about the consumption of fire wings. "All right, since Elder Bai has come personally, you don't have to worry anymore. To have a good son-in-law like Xiaoyan, your life is worth it." Zhu Kun patted Guyuan's shoulder and comforted him. There was a trace of envy in his tone. After hearing what Zhu Kun said, Guyuan also revealed a smile on his face. He sighed and said, "Zana's taste is better than mine." Kalen, who was at the side, heard the conversation between the two and could not help but feel a touch of pride in her heart. Her taste was not bad either. The pill gathering was located to the west of the academy. It was a series of buildings located in the middle of the mountains and was extremely spacious. In the air, Xiaoyan keenly sensed a blazing flame fluctuation within it. Compared to ordinary students, there were very few alchemists with powerful spiritual strength. However, to be able to monopolize such a large territory, one could see how much importance the academy attached to alchemists. The flame behind his back dissipated, and Xiaoyan landed steadily on the ground. Looking forward, he saw many buildings standing tall and imposing. In the middle of the square, there were even dozens of cauldrons standing. This is an important place of the pill gathering. Outsiders are not allowed to trespass. When they saw that there was no sign of the Elixir Association on Xiaoyan's body, the two members of the punishment department who were guarding the building immediately shouted and blocked Xiaoyan's path. Xiaoyan furrowed his brows, but in the end, he didn't get angry. Now that Zuna's condition was clear, there was no need for him to get angry with these guys. My name is Xiaoyan. I have an urgent matter to discuss with the pill elder. Xiaoyan took a deep breath and tried his best to speak in a calm tone. As he spoke, he was about to go in. Allow me to go and inform them. A member of the punishment department shouted out loudly and was about to reach out his hand to stop Xiaoyan. Let him in. Right at this moment, a clear voice was heard and stopped the member in time. Xiaoyan looked over and saw a young man in a gray robe slowly walking out of the building. The young man had an ordinary appearance, and there was nothing special about him. If he was placed in the crowd, he wouldn't let anyone take a second look at him. He walked steadily, and his deep and serene eyes were like a deep spring that no one could see through. He looked at the young man's appearance. Xiaoyan furrowed his brows. He seemed to have seen this person somewhere before. Senior Ran, why did you come out? Seeing the young man walk out, the two punishment department members hurriedly bowed and greeted him respectfully. Their words were full of flattery. The young man didn't even look at the two of them. Instead, he looked at Xiaoyan with a smile. He said in a clear voice, Saint Rank trial participant, I have been admiring your name for a long time. I have seen you before, but I did not have the chance to talk to you. After saying that, he cupped his hands towards Xiaoyan and spoke with a friendly tone. You are a student of Realm in Valley. Xiaoyan also recalled where he had seen this young man before. When he entered the illusory spirit space, this young man was also present. My name is Ran Hong. Back in the inner courtyard competition, I wanted to come out and watch the competition, but I was too busy and didn't have the time. The young man smiled and gestured to Xiaoyan. When you first came to the academy, the president mentioned you. I have always wanted to meet you. Please come to the pavilion for a chat. Thank you. Xiaoyan nodded and followed him, leaving only the two dumbfounded executors behind. Saint Rank trial participant. He's the Saint Rank trial participant that defeated Captain Zhuang He. The young man who wanted to stop Xiaoyan shouted out in fear. He couldn't help but break out in a cold sweat. Why is he here? Could it be that he wants to collude with the people of the Elixir Association to deal with the punishment department? Another young man swallowed a mouthful of saliva and broke out in cold sweat. How would I know? Senior Ran, please guide me to the pill elder. I have an urgent matter that I need the help of the elders. After chatting for a while, Xiaoyan finally could not help but speak. I have already guessed your motive for coming here. There is only one heaven cauldron in the Pill Association. Before teacher left, he handed it to me for safekeeping. It is useless for you to look for those elders. Ran Hong only smiled when he heard this. He brought Xiaoyan to a building and sat down. He said casually, Chapter End. Battle Through the Firmament. Grand World. Chapter 343 A Favor. Elder Lu is your teacher. Xiaoyan was stunned for a moment. Then he said sincerely, if that's the case, I hope Senior can lend me the Heaven Cauldron. Xiaoyan will definitely be very grateful. Ran Hong smiled and said, the poison dissolving pills are 6th grade medicine pills. How can you refine them? You should wait until teacher comes back first. As he spoke, Ran Hong's brows slightly knitted. A majestic soul force flowed out from between his brows like flowing water, filling the entire pavilion. Xiaoyan let out a light humph. His forehead moved, and a late alien realm soul energy surged out from between his brows, instantly pushing Ran Hong's soul energy to the side. Senior Ran, please forgive me. I don't know how long it will take for Elder Lu to come back. I can't wait that long. Ran Hong sensed the pressure coming from Xiaoyan's soul. The smile on his face finally became a little stiff. He pursed his lips and nodded with some surprise. He has already reached the late alien realm. However, based on his senses, it seems that he has only reached the late alien realm. Refining poison dissolving pills is about the same. It is likely still a little difficult to refine poison dissolving pills. No matter what, I must give it a try. Xiaoyan frowned. He endured his anger and said, "Okay." Ran Hong did not say anything else after seeing Xiaoyan's irritation. He gently nodded his head. The storage ring on his finger flashed gently. A large black cauldron suddenly appeared, smashing 3 medium-sized holes into the ground. This is the mysterious spirit cauldron. It is the heavenly cauldron. It is also something that teacher loves. Unfortunately, one's natural endowment is stupid. It has been so many years, but it is still unable to meet teacher's requirements. This cauldron cannot be used. Ran Hong got up and gently caressed the profound spirit cauldron. His words were filled with regret. My teacher mentioned you before. He said that your soul body after the 3 steps soul transfer is extremely powerful. When you are concocting pills, I wonder if I can observe from the side. Ran Hong turned his gaze to Xiaoyan and said in a clear voice. Of course. Xiaoyan took a deep breath. In one breath, he nodded his head heavily. In order to borrow the heaven cauldron, even if Ran Hong had any other requests, he could only try his best to agree to them. But now, this condition was extremely easy. All right, when the time comes, we'll have to watch husband Xiaoyan concoct the heaven cauldron. Ran Hong let out a loud laugh. After pondering for a moment, he said, if you want to control this profound spirit cauldron, your soul force must be extremely powerful. I believe that with your late alien realm soul force and the 3 steps soul transfer, you should be able to control it. Xiaoyan nodded his head. He took a closer look at the cauldron. The surface of the cauldron was shining with a bright light, almost spotless. It could be seen that Ran Hong was very interested in this heaven cauldron. However, Xiaoyan seemed to have sensed something vaguely. Although both of them were the heavenly cauldrons, the Blood Knight cauldron he possessed was much more effective than this profound spirit cauldron. That's right. How are the medicinal ingredients that are used to refine the poison dissolving pill? Seeing Xiaoyan put away the cauldron, a trace of reluctance flashed across Ran Hong's eyes. He hurriedly diverted his attention and said, I haven't had the time to collect it yet. Hearing this, Xiaoyan smiled bitterly and shook his head. On the list that Wu Shaoqi brought over, there were dozens of herbs listed. Although most of them were common, collecting them one by one would take a lot of time. There are a lot of herbs in the herb room of the Elixir Association. If there are any useful ones, just take them. I will tell my teacher about it when the time comes. Xiaoyan was stunned when he heard that, and then nodded heavily. He said sincerely, if that's the case, then I won't be polite. No matter what the purpose of the Elixir Association was to help him, Xiaoyan did not have time to analyze it. As long as he could wake Zuna up as soon as possible. After this favor, he would return it. In a courtyard, Elder Wu's residence. Seeing Wu Shaoqi had indeed advanced to the Monarch Emperor, Elder Wu was pleasantly surprised. Although an elder had told him about it, seeing it with his own eyes still made him extremely excited. Tears almost flowed down his face. You little girl, I have been cultivating for dozens of years before I reached the Monarch Emperor. You have become a Monarch Emperor at your age. Not bad, not bad. Elder Wu patted Wu Shaoqi's shoulder and sighed deeply. His tone was filled with gratification. Grandpa, don't be so happy. How about you consider what I have told you? Wu Shaoqi's eyes were like crescent moons as she looked at Elder Wu with a smile. The blood essence of Emperor Cultivation Level Heavenly Beast. Hearing Wu Shaoqi's reminder, the smile on Elder Wu's face disappeared. He could not help but fall into deep thought. In Wu Shaoqi's widened eyes, he bitterly smiled and said, an Emperor Cultivation Level Heavenly Beast is hard to find. Moreover, even if I go forward to help, and not necessarily kill it. Emperor Cultivation and Monarch Emperor are two completely different levels. I don't care. If you don't want to go, I'll go. When the time comes, you just have to watch your granddaughter die under the feet of the heavenly beast. Wu Shaoqi snorted and rolled her eyes. Why is it still the same childish temper? Seeing Wu Shaoqi's expression, Elder Wu also had a headache. With Xiaoyan's help, you were able to obtain the inheritance of the ancient expert. This is a huge favor, but to help him kill an Emperor Cultivation Heavenly Beast, I, a Monarch Emperor, am powerless. You just don't want to help. Wu Shaoqi snorted, then she ran out without looking back, ignoring Elder Wu's call. Looking at Wu Shaoqi's departing figure, Elder Wu could only stamp his feet anxiously. This girl is really messing around. Shaking his head, Elder Wu did not dare to be neglectful. After pondering for a moment, he hurriedly rushed to a place above the heavenly peak. When Xiaoyan returned with a large amount of medicinal ingredients, he happened to bump into Wu Shaoqi, who had just arrived. Grandfather won't agree. I'll go with you to kill the heavenly beast. Let's go, Wu Shaoqi muttered when she saw Xiaoyan. Her tone was full of complaints. Nonsense. Xiaoyan was stunned for a moment when he heard her. After that, he smiled bitterly. He didn't have any strategies to kill an Emperor Cultivation Level Heavenly Beast. With Wu Shaoqi, who had just advanced to the Monarch Emperor, what ability did she have to kill a heavenly beast with intelligence? It's not nonsense. Wu Shaoqi frowned and said loudly. Xiaoyan shook his head and did not say anything. He was well aware of Elder Wu's hesitation and did not have any intention of blaming him. The elders in the academy had no obligation to interfere in the matters between the students. Furthermore, the heavenly beast in the outer mountains could not enter the academy to attack the students. Correspondingly, the elders in the academy could not attack any heavenly beast. After I think about how to deal with the heavenly beast, I'll have to rely on you. Xiaoyan also knew Wu Shaoqi's thoughts like the back of his hand. He thought for a moment and said solemnly, all right, that's what you said. Wu Shaoqi immediately beamed when she heard this. Her initial dissatisfaction had disappeared. She nodded her head in satisfaction. Her body moved and she immediately left Heavenly Peak. Looking at Wu Shaoqi's back as she left, Xiaoyan couldn't help but sigh. This guy had the temperament of a child. This time in the pill gatherings medicinal ingredients room, Xiaoyan had also gathered most of the ingredients needed to refine the poison dissolving pill. There were only a few rare medicinal ingredients left. According to Ran Hong, there were many of these medicinal ingredients in the center of the Spirit Pavilion. After Xiaoyan had ascended the Soaring Dragon ranking, this kind of hidden place could also be used. I've gathered almost all of these herbs. Next is the blood essence of Emperor Cultivation Heavenly Beast. Xiaoyan muttered to himself. After pondering for a moment, he finally let out a sigh. He looked at the location of the heavenly peak where Mahiyu was. It seemed like he still needed to talk to Mahiyu. Chapter End. Battle Through the Firmament. Grand World. Chapter 344. Refining. You want that heavenly beast? Mahiyu was slightly startled when she heard Xiaoyan's words. After which, she nodded her head in understanding. The blood flame scaled beast being able to appear in the outer mountains means that there are natural treasures nearby that are sufficient to attract it. However, with your strength, it is somewhat unrealistic for you to kill the blood flame scaled beast. Her pretty eyes looked at Xiaoyan and Mahiyu laughed bitterly. She shrugged her shoulders and said. Xiaoyan nodded. How could he not know that the blood flame scaled beast was the only heavenly beast he knew? Although the latter was considered an extremely powerful existence among Emperor Cultivation heavenly beasts, it would be even harder to obtain another heavenly beast if he missed this one. There are no other heavenly beasts in the outer mountain. There is only one blood flame scaled beast. This is my only chance. After revealing his thoughts, Xiaoyan felt extremely helpless. He had no idea how to deal with this heavenly beast. I could have asked Big Brother to help you, but he is going to take the graduation exam soon. Time is of the essence. I don't think he will care about this matter. Mahiyu pouted and her tone was full of apology. Xiaoyan smiled. He did not plan to ask Mahuyang and the others to help him. Mahiyu's words did not cause any waves in his heart. After Grandma Bai's treatment, the poison has been completely controlled. As long as I consume the poison dissolving pill, the poison will be completely removed. I still have some time. Let's think of another way. After chatting casually with Mahiyu, Xiaoyan got up and took his leave. This time around, apart from understanding about the blood flame scaled beast, he came to see Mahiyu to thank her for helping Kalen in illusory spirit space. With Mahiyu's help, Kalen's harvest in the illusory spirit space was also quite bountiful. She obtained 2 Emperor rank origin bead. After refining it during this period of time, Kalen's strength had already stabilized at the 8 Monic spirit and was much stronger than before. Oh right, the blood essence of Emperor cultivation level heavenly beast. You can go to Capital of Chaos and take a look. There are many different kinds of things there. Perhaps there will be the blood essence of heavenly beast there. Mahiyu stood up and pondered for a moment. Then, she spoke out the thoughts in her heart. Xiaoyan nodded his head, and a glimmer of hope appeared in his eyes. Realm in Valley. Mahuyang was dressed in white, standing on top of King Chu. He looked into the distance with a calm expression, holding a black jade plate in his hand. On the jade plate was the content of the graduation exam. Glancing at the contents of the jade plate, Mahuyang smiled and put away the jade plate. He muttered to himself, another 3 missions, exactly the same as the holy rank trial. After that, he let out a soft sigh, and Mahuyang's body moved. He rushed out of the valley. Every student would have the graduation exam before they left the academy. Although it was called an exam, it was actually an assessment of the academy's individual strength. They would list out a few missions to complete, and these missions, most of them were to gather resources for the academy or to defeat the enemy. After all, at such a time in the academy, he couldn't waste his cultivation resources for nothing. This kind of graduation examination, it was more like paying tuition. In Capital of Chaos, under the endless prosperity, there was a bottomless darkness and evil. Countless gangs stood in a forest, secretly, dividing up every inch of land and every resource. On the surface, it was flourishing and prosperous. West Capital, within the Silver Moon Group. The sect master of Silver Moon Group, Luo Jun, sat in the seat of honor. The wine cup in his hand was rotating slowly. He looked at a middle-aged man who was sitting at the bottom like a poisonous snake and said, after waiting for so many days, the fish has finally taken the bait. Master Zhao, it's all up to you this time. The middle-aged man had a sinister look in his eyes. It was Zhao Qingshan, who had rushed over from Myriad Spirit City. After hearing Luo Jun's words, Zhao Qingshan laughed loudly and said, "Rest assured, Sect Master Luo. If what you said is true, Mahuyang's soul power is his weakness. With my soul power, I can definitely suppress him. At that time, it will be up to Sect Master Luo and everyone else." After saying that, Zhao Qingshan raised his wine glass and said to the higher-ups of Silver Moon Group, "Master Zhao is being too polite. You are the main force this time. That's right, if we can injure Mahuyang with our soul energy, it will be much easier to kill him." Upon seeing Zhao Qingshan speak, the higher-ups of Silver Moon Group hurriedly raised the glasses and said. Their words sounded like they were trying to curry favor with Zhao Qingshan. When he heard these people trying to please him, Zhao Qingshan could not help but laugh. After exchanging a few pleasantries, he drank the wine in his glass in one gulp. Luo Jun let his subordinates suck up to Zhao Qingshan. He only smiled and drank the wine in his cup. When he raised his head, his eyes emitted a cold light. When Xiaoyan returned to Heavenly Peak, Guyuan and Zhu Kun had already left. The torture during this period had exhausted both of their bodies and minds. Under Kalen's persuasion, the two of them reluctantly left. After telling Kalen about the thoughts in his heart, Xiaoyan also considered it carefully. In the end, he decided to go to Capital of Chaos and try his luck. Although he had borrowed the Heaven Cauldron, it was too difficult to kill an Emperor Cultivation Heavenly Beast. With his current strength, even if he used the Buddha Fury Fire Lotus, he was afraid that it would not cause much harm to an Emperor Cultivation Heavenly Beast. You have been busy during this period of time for Zuna. Rest for a while. After Grandma Bai treated the injuries in Zuna's body, the anxiety in Kalen's heart also lessened a lot. At this moment, when she saw Xiaoyan's weary face, she could not help but feel sorry for him. Seeing the gentle light flowing in Kalen's eyes, Xiaoyan also nodded his head obediently. During this period of time, he had almost walked around the entire Yunlo. He was really a little tired. He remembered Zuna's safety in his heart. Xiaoyan only rested for a moment before he woke up. His mind felt blank, as if he couldn't remember anything. Still not strong enough. Clenching his fists tightly, Xiaoyan could not help but laugh at himself. His eyes were filled with sadness. When he thought of Zuna's pale face, the anger in his heart towards the Star Sky Academy burned uncontrollably. Suddenly, Xiaoyan's expression changed. He opened his fist and looked at his palm. There was a faint symbol lying quietly in his hand. It was the large amount of Wu Shaoqis that Wu Shaoqi had poured into his body. Xiaoyan's eyes flashed. He did not hesitate anymore. He bent his legs and formed a hand seal. He used the rune in his palm as a guide to search for the location of the origin monic key. Since he was going to the Capital of Chaos, it would be beneficial to increase his strength as much as possible. Even if he did obtain the blood essence of an Emperor Cultivation Heavenly Beast, it would still be beneficial to him. He would have enough strength to protect himself. Inside his body, a red origin key was tightly coiled like a thread, appearing to be quite solid. The origin monic kiss on it were even thicker than the monic emperors of monic emperor demons. As Xiaoyan closed his eyes and took a deep breath, the origin energy ball suddenly exploded. Under Xiaoyan's precise control, this origin key instantly injected into the latter's limbs and bones. Xiaoyan could not help but exclaim. The fiery red origin monic kiss were wildly swallowed by all the meridians in his body. Finally, they flowed into the origin monic crystal. A huge metal clanging chain was slowly formed. Bang! In merely a moment, another two huge chains appeared within Xiaoyan's body. The third chain seemed to have an outline that was extremely similar. Peak of Monic King. This was Xiaoyan's current strongest strength. Chapter End. Battle Through the Firmament. Grand World. Chapter 345 Punishment Department. Wu Shaoqi had received Flame Lord's inheritance. Due to her weak strength, she couldn't accept all of the origin monic kiss. She could only keep them in her body for the time being. The former had given half of the origin kiss to Xiaoyan. It was imaginable how huge it was. This was an origin monic key that could easily form several origin monic kiss for ordinary people. In Xiaoyan's place, he had only condensed 2 Xiaoyans. Although the strength of the fighting monarchs that were used to advance in the lower realm far surpassed those of the same level, the amount of origin monic kiss needed to advance was also far greater than that of the original inhabitants of the Great World. 4 Emperors. Xiaoyan stood up and stretched out both arms. An inexhaustible energy spread out from his heart. The pleasant feeling caused Xiaoyan to involuntarily let out a long sigh. It's within my expectation that I will be able to reach this level. If I use the Monic Flame secret skill and Heavenly Monic Fire burning body, I estimate that any ordinary Monic Emperor can fight me. After estimating his own strength, Xiaoyan nodded his head in satisfaction. When he thought of the unconscious Zuna, the joy in his eyes instantly turned into fury. This bit of strength isn't enough to deal with the Star Sky Academy. I don't even have the qualifications to participate in the 4 academies competition. And that Heaven's chosen one, he has the strength of an Emperor Cultivation. Xiaoyan clenched his fists tightly. When he recalled Su Jiang's words, the fury in his heart calmed down. He wanted to revenge Zuna. His current strength was still far from enough. When I return from Capital of Chaos this time, I will need to cultivate the other 3 techniques of the 4-Spirit Emperor technique. I also need to master the secret arts in the Yin Scroll. After advancing to the Emperor realm, both his consciousness and perception had improved a lot compared to when he was at the Monic Spirit. Once again, he would observe the profound Monic skill. Perhaps he would discover something new. After making up his mind, Xiaoyan did not stay any longer. He went out to take a look at Zuna and Kai Lin. The former was still unconscious, but his face had recovered a lot. After greeting Kai Lin, Xiaoyan rushed down the mountain and wanted to leave the academy. He still needed to go through the approval of the punishment department. Otherwise, he would not be able to leave the great formation of the academy. The punishment department was located in the east of the academy. It was situated far away from the Pill Association. As one of the biggest powers in the Yunlo Academy, the requirements weren't as high as the Pill Association. Every year, countless students would squeeze their heads out and try to join them, becoming one of them. If they were lucky enough to become a member of the punishment department, not only would they receive a sizable amount of Spirit Origins stones as remuneration, they would also have the opportunity to come into contact with the various elders in the academy. If they could obtain a few of the guidance, it would undoubtedly be a great help to these Monic Spirit level students. In the eastern region of the academy, the punishment department was situated in a majestic manner. Compared to the small and exquisite Pill Association, the punishment department was incomparably majestic. The buildings were connected to each other, and the atmosphere was majestic. The function of the punishment department was not only to mediate the friction between the students in the academy, but also to protect the safety of the surrounding areas of the academy. Among them, there were many elders who had a clear division of labor. Elder Wu was one of the people with real power, and he was in charge of the punishment department. When Xiaoyan arrived at the punishment department, he saw Lu Xiangyang walking out from within. The latter had a gloomy expression on his face, causing the surrounding students to hold their breaths in fear of offending him. "Xiaoyan, what are you doing here?" Lu Xiangyang's face darkened when he saw Xiaoyan walking over, and he shouted coldly, "Why do I need to report to you what I am doing?" Xiaoyan sneered when he heard Lu Xiangyang's question. He didn't give the former any face in his words. "How dare you? I am the captain of the punishment department. I am here to assist the elders in managing the safety of the academy. I have the right to ask about the situation of every student." Lu Xiangyang flew into a rage, and he pointed his finger at Xiaoyan's nose. "Get lost, I don't want to talk to you right now." Xiaoyan darted a cold glance at Lu Xiangyang. Although Bai Yongzhao was the first one who came to cause trouble for him when he first arrived at the Yunlo Academy and Lu Xiangyang had only spoken a few words, it seemed like Bai Yongzhao was much more pleasing to the eye than Lu Xiangyang. "What an arrogant attitude, you!" Lu Xiangyang glared at Xiaoyan. Although he was furious in his heart, he knew his own limitations. Xiaoyan and Zhu Tianhou were on par with each other. If they were to fight against him, he was afraid that they wouldn't even be able to last 3 rounds. "What's wrong? Do you want to get beaten up?" Xiaoyan stopped and turned his head to look at Lu Xiangyang. He looked at Lu Xiangyang and said with a cold tone, "If this guy really pissed him off, even the captain of punishment department would beat him up. I have something important to attend to today, so I won't lower myself to your level. You take care of yourself." Lu Xiangyang glared at Xiaoyan and forced himself to give him some face. Then, he pretended to leave. "Stop right there. Let me ask you, is Elder Wu here?" Xiaoyan stopped Lu Xiangyang and said rudely. The surrounding people looked at him. Lu Xiangyang's face turned red. He had lost all his face as the captain today, but he was well aware of Xiaoyan's strength. He was no match for Xiaoyan, let alone the fact that the latter had already reached the second Dao Emperor realm. "He's not here. Most of the elders in punishment department have left just now. Only Elder Wei Tong, Elder Wei, is in charge of the overall situation. Lu Xiangyang said impatiently with a gloomy expression. Elder Wei, what is he doing? Elder Wei is helping Elder Su manage one of the 8 elders in Realm in Valley. He is also the management elder of Punishment Department. Lu Xiangyang coldly humphed, but he didn't dare not answer Xiaoyan's question. He gritted his teeth and said, "Got it." Nodding his head, Xiaoyan walked towards the main hall. Lu Xiangyang glared at Xiaoyan and suppressed the anger in his heart. He turned around and glared at his teammates before leaving angrily. Seeing that this student called Xiaoyan had actually made the captain dispirited, a few of the team members on duty looked at each other and saw the surprise in each other's eyes. According to what they knew, this student called Xiaoyan was ranked after Lu Xiangyang in the Soaring Dragon ranking. Based on the latter's temper, how could he behave so badly? Xiaoyan himself did not know what the other members were thinking. After entering the large hall, Xiaoyan easily found the room where the elder was located. Elder Wei looked quite old. His face was kind and his white hair was combed neatly. He looked full of energy. Elder Wei's eyes lit up when he saw Xiaoyan. He had heard of the former before. Even he didn't dare to offend the name of this saint rank trial participant. He immediately agreed to Xiaoyan's request. Heavenly Beast's blood essence. This kind of thing is extremely rare even in the capital of chaos. However, I heard that this kind of thing has appeared in some auction houses in the western capital. After pondering for a moment, Elder Wei knitted his white eyebrows and said, "The West Capital." Xiaoyan's spirits were lifted when he heard this. This news was too important. If the blood essence of the heavenly beast really appeared, he had to get it no matter what. It's not just the auction house. I think there's news about the Silver Moon Mountain in the West Capital. A few days ago, there was news about the heavenly beast giving birth. The heavenly beast is very weak after giving birth, and its strength is greatly reduced. If you're lucky, you might encounter it. With a laugh, Elder Wei threw out another heavyweight bomb. Thank you. Xiaoyan's heart moved when he heard this. He cupped his fists at Elder Wei and thanked him sincerely. After that, he bid farewell to the latter and left the hall. After knowing this news, Xiaoyan didn't want to stay any longer. Looking at Xiaoyan's back, Elder Wei let out a light breath. A faint smile slowly emerged on his lips. This bastard would surely replace Mu Yuyang and become the main force of Yunlo Academy in the future. It was better to get rid of him as soon as possible. It's a pity that Wu Shaoqi didn't follow them. Otherwise, we could have gotten rid of them together with Mu Yuyang this time. After muttering a few words, the cold smile on Elder Wei's face quickly disappeared and returned to his previous kind smile. He looked like a kind and amiable old man. Chapter end. Please guys like, comment, share, and subscribe.